We made it to our destination in Illinois. Come along with us as we enjoy the sights and explore St. Louis, Missouri. We're headed to the Science Center. It's totally free and definitely a great time. This is the Mississippi River, and we are currently on the Illinois side. My husband's family is from a small town in Illinois just across from St. Louis. And so we were able to stay in an Airbnb and enjoy some family time there while we were supporting a family friend. And we were able to enjoy some of the places that we miss eating that we do not have in Texas. And one of those places is White Castle. Don't judge me. If you know, you know. There are some people that absolutely loathe White Castle, but when you don't get it a whole lot, it is one of the stops we had to make while we were there. So we reintroduced the boys to White Castle. They've had it, but it's been a long time, and so I got to enjoy some sliders, and it was delicious. And so, one thing we did before we headed into St. Louis was stop by where my husband proposed. My boys love hearing the story of how their dad proposed to me. And so, we wanted to take them through Pure Marquette State Park, and it is a beautiful park. And in this particular area of Illinois, there are a lot of hills and bluffs that are just breathtakingly gorgeous. Now, it is in the middle of winter, and of course, things are looking very brown, but it is still a beautiful sight when you get up to the top of the bluffs and you're able to see out across the Mississippi, and it's just beautiful. It was a lovely day. The weather was very nice, and I think it got up close to 70 degrees that day. So I definitely couldn't complain. We hadn't been here since about 3 years. So the boys were a lot younger then and didn't really remember all that well. So before we headed into the city, we did make a pit stop and toured this beautiful drive and stopped where we got engaged. It's been over 20 years now since then, but it's still really nostalgic to come back. And so we let the boys run around, and then we decided to head into the city. Our first stop was the St. Louis Science Center. And one thing we love about St. Louis is they have so many free educational resources. And the Science Center is one of them. They also have a planetarium, which is connected to the Science Center. We were able to take in a show on the constellations, and that was just really cool. The boys had never had one of the planetarium shows before. So then after that, we were able to explore some of the science exhibits that they had. Here, the boys are testing how to fix a hole in space. So, what material would actually work well if you needed to fix a little piece of the space shuttle. So it was just really cool. Hands-on activities, really fun for all ages. There were quite a few exhibits up in the Science Center area.
Ellie, I think you found something
And we
else.
just loved the space stuff. That was just very cool.
Okay, so don't take that off.
It's like a suction, kind of like a vacuum.
I think it switches.
That works.
Kind of works.
As we enjoyed the rest of the exhibits of the space area, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how we came across a really great deal for the tickets that we got for the planetarium and an IMAX show at the Science Center. I did a ton of research on hotels in the St. Louis area, and we stumbled upon the Drury Inn Suites in the Union Station location. And as we were looking at possible rooms to book, we found that they also had deals that included the room fee, and it also included different tourist attractions. So, the room that we booked, we also were able to get free planetarium show tickets and then an IMAX show tickets. Now, again, the Science Center is free for admission, but all of the extras do have a small ticketed cost, but it did save us about $64, I believe, in ticket costs that we would have paid for either way. So to me, that is a dinner that we, got kind of for free. So I would definitely suggest you look at hotels in the area where you're wanting to stay. See if they have any deals that include additional tickets for tourist locations. They also had arch ticket prices that were included in your room. We didn't end up choosing that, but that was an option. And I believe there was another type of option, maybe the zoo. But anyway, it's just something good to look into. I'm all about getting, more experiences for a cheaper price. And that definitely worked out because typically I wouldn't go pay for an IMAX show. We had never actually done an IMAX show because it's usually an added cost, but I enjoyed it thoroughly. They, I believe, had a dinosaur IMAX show. We chose the Blue Angels documentary show, which was very cool, very interesting. And then also there was another one, I believe that was, oh dear, about the human body. So anyway, definitely a resource that might provide a little extra value and more experiences. And we definitely came away enjoying both of those resources. So, as I said, the planetarium is connected to the Science Center via this cool bridge that goes over the highway. And we definitely had fun checking out this little area. They made it into an exhibit by testing you could do the radar speed of the cars that were going past. That was really fun. The boys enjoyed doing that. And they also have these cool cutout shapes in the bridge floor, which allows you to see the cars driving under, which definitely made me a little nervous, but it was a very cool experience.
Yeah, some of them are going really fast, aren't they?
Speed racers.
Yeah.
These are speedometers. Speedometers. Is that what they're called? Speedometers? Elliot, this is so scary.
Run, 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 run. Run, 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 and jump. Run. There you go.
Look at it, we're charging it. Here, I'll turn it upside down.
Great show.
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh,
I
yeah.
run and I run.
As you probably heard, my husband had some good memories on this little machine when he was younger. I'm sure they took some field trips to the Science Center when he was growing up in the area, and so he had to get on and try. This is actually controlling a very large marble run, and your energy is used to help the marbles go around the track. So that was very cool. We really enjoyed seeing this in action, and this actually goes throughout most of the museum, as you can see. This is the entrance, so it's really the first thing that you come across, and it's got a big presence. As you go up to the different levels, you can see the marbles working, and it's always fun to see the kids try to coordinate and work together. Elliot loves to kind of be a monkey, so as Owen was running, he was trying to
hold still and kind of do a little bit of a flip. But it was really fun. The boys had a great time. This science center is full of great hands-on activities, including that marble run, but also they have a area about building and the building process. And this was a really cool experiment to see if you could stack these foam blocks in order to make the St. Louis Arch. And that was really cool to see because the boys had a little bit of a science and physics lesson in why the arch works, and the last piece that you put in, that keystone piece, is a very important piece to the arch structure. So they had quite a few different ways of building an arch. You can see in the background there are smaller examples, there were these bigger examples, and then they had Lego examples of the arch and just other building techniques throughout. So that was a really cool experience. They had a little bit of teamwork there, especially when they had to put the last piece together. But the boys did a great job, and we enjoyed watching them work together.
Isn't that so cool?
So you go down with it. Now if you turn this, like this one to the left and right, like it, you see this left and right controls it like that, and then controls that arm.
As you can see, this museum specializes in hands-on activities. This is definitely not a stuffy museum where it's telling kids to keep their hands in their pockets all the time because you're afraid they're going to mess something up. Absolutely not. All of these things are perfect for little ones and big kids alike to explore and invent and build and do. And so we really loved spending time in this particular section. It was talking about different buildings, different bridges, how they work, the engineering behind them. And you can see that there's nothing really that they can mess up. And actually, when they do mess it up, it's a good learning opportunity and experience to try to figure out how it gets put back together. So we spent a good chunk of time here. And on this particular day, it was really nice. There wasn't a ton of people there. Going during the week was perfect. The one thing I will say is that the Science Center here in St. Louis is closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I thought that that schedule was a little interesting, and it did kind of put a little hiccup in our plans, but just kind of plan accordingly. Make sure you look at the hours and the times that are available to visit. But we went on a Monday, and it wasn't terribly busy, as you can see in the videos. There might have been a couple of school groups, but for the most part, we had a lot of this area to ourselves or just sharing with a very small amount of people. So my oldest really loves building. He loves Lego, and he got inspired by some of these designs using these wooden blocks. So he sat and spent a little time making a pirate ship, which you'll see in just a moment, while my littlest son loved playing with the big foam blocks. And so he spent time coming up and creating there on the floor. And it was just a blast. They definitely got to get out their energy. And then we moved on to the next exhibit, which did talk about some of the physics of floating, flying. This was a little experiment of how to design a parachute and how to make it fly or float as best you can with different designs. So they had everything that you needed to create a parachute, and then you kind of had to test it out, which was great for cause and effect and hypotheses and trying to figure out the solution and what was causing it to work or not work very well. And so that was really fun. My husband, who is a tinkerer by nature, he loves to get in on this stuff as well and try it out. He really, as you can see, kind of got really involved with that while my boys moved on to a bigger section of the play area. You were able to use these large wooden pieces to make really big 3D objects. So this was a lawnmower, I believe, or a race car, a little scooter that somebody had built. And then they had a whole section in the corner there where you could take these pieces off of the wall and create your own whatever you want, your own creation. So that was really cool to see such large building options. So, and now they are playing air ball, which they are trying to get the ball into a hoop. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Quidditch there from Harry Potter. But it was just all about the physics of trying to figure out how that would work. This next section was one of the coolest sections. It's the game exploration part of the museum, and it is all about a universe of games, including video games, virtual games, board games. They had a huge 8-person foosball table, which my youngest absolutely loves foosball. And then they had a 3D chess set, which my oldest just learned how to play chess. So he was really excited to see that. We also got to look at some vintage games, which of course kind of brought back some memories from my childhood. And then they got to play a really large I guess, Nintendo Mario game, which was really fun. I never really grew up playing tons of video games, but my husband definitely did. So he is more of the expert on video game playing, and so the boys tend to get him roped into playing video games, which is really fun. And so here they are trying to attempt to play an 8-person foosball game, which was very complicated. I even got on in the action a little bit, but it was just really fun to see such a huge foosball table. They also had parts of computers that were taken apart, or video game consoles that were taken apart, so you could see the insides of them, which is always really cool. And then here they are trying to cooperate to figure out how to manipulate this game with this huge controller. It's always really fun to see how they managed to do that. So we spent a little bit of time here and really enjoyed it. And towards the end of our visit, we hadn't even gone to the lower level where the dinosaurs are. Now, my kids have both gone through phases of enjoying dinosaurs, but we almost closed this museum out. I believe they closed around 4:30 and it was 4:15. So we were definitely pushing it, and so we spent a little bit of time down here, went through a quick little tour of some of the exhibits, but didn't really get to spend as much time as we probably would have if we would have had more time. However, this museum captured our attention, and we really did take our time throughout the entire place. So I wouldn't really do anything differently, but maybe just come back on a different day. Again, this was a free museum, and if we would have had more time in St. Louis, we would have probably been able to come back and enjoy it. So if you are staying longer than just a couple days, that would be great to kind of spend a little bit more time there. But we have a lot more planned in a short amount of time. So we are also going to try to fit in a little visit to Union Station, which is close to our hotel, and the St. Louis Zoo, which is another free place to go. And we also really wanted to check out an illusion museum. So all of that is coming up, as well as the St. Louis Arch. How could you go to St. Louis and not check out the Arch? I hope you follow along. It'll be a really great time. We'll see you next time.